I am Diego Armando Maradona, June 22nd, 1986, Mexico City. At the Azteca Stadium, 115,000 pairs of eyes on me. The 51st minute of the England match. The ball is in the air, I jump, Shilton jumps too, and then everything changes. A touch of the hand, just one touch of the hand. But whose hand? God's or mine? If you listen to this story until the end, you'll learn the true secret of that day. So don't forget to like the video and turn on notifications, because stories like this aren't told every day. If I told you my life up until 1986, it would take days. But to understand that Mexico World Cup, you need to know where I came from. Villa Fiorito, one of the poorest neighborhoods in Buenos Aires. Muddy streets, tin shacks, and big dreams. That's where I was born, where I grew up, where I learned football, my father Chitoro, my mother Doña Tota. I was the fifth of 8 children. I knew what poverty was, but poverty gave me strength. Hunger gave me speed, because I knew football was my only way out. Have you ever truly been hungry? I don't just mean hungry for food, I mean hungry for success. Share in the comments, because that hunger made me a champion. The 1982 Spain World Cup, I still feel the pain of that tournament. I was 21, the youngest star in the world, but I won nothing. Brazil eliminated us, and I cried on the field. Those tears deserved a red card because, in my rage, I kicked Batista. But the real pain came from somewhere else. In 1982, the Falklands War happened. For us, the Malvinas Islands. The English occupied our islands, and 649 Argentine soldiers were killed, most of them my age. Even younger, kids of 18, 19. In the streets of Buenos Aires, mothers wept. Fathers watched television in silence. Everyone knew something had to change. But how? Political power wasn't enough. Military power had failed. Diego, you are our only hope, they said to me. You are our revenge. At 25 years old, carrying the pain, pride, and hope of a whole nation wasn't easy. At night, I couldn't sleep. What if I fail? What if I let Argentina down? I thought. But going to Mexico, I knew. This time was different. This time it wasn't just Diego Maradona playing. It was all of Argentina. And most importantly, this time we were playing against England. The football field was our battlefield. On the plane to Mexico City, I looked out the window. We were above the clouds, but I was still thinking about the muddy streets of Villa Fiorito. Little Diego, the boy playing with a tin ball, was now going to the World Cup. I looked at my teammates, Valdano, Passarella, Ruggeri. They were silent. Everyone was thinking the same thing. Is this our time? A journalist sat next to me on the plane. Diego, what do you think you'll feel in the England match? He asked. I'll just play football, I said. But inside I felt something else. Revenge, pride, justice, all of it would be in that match. When we landed in Mexico City, there were hundreds of Argentines at the airport. Flags, chants, tears. Diego, 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 they shouted. That's when I realized I wouldn't just be playing for myself, I'd be playing for them too. We settled in at the hotel. From my room window, I could see the massive buildings of Mexico City, a city of 2 million people. But my mind was 8,000 kilometers away in Buenos Aires. The 10 million Argentines there were all watching us. Quarterfinals. I woke up at 6 a.m. I hadn't slept anyway. I spent the night staring at the ceiling, thinking, today Argentina's destiny is in my feet. One wrong move, one bad pass, and it's all over. At breakfast, I couldn't eat a thing. My stomach turned. Our coach, Carlos Bilardo, came to me. Diego, how do you feel? I'm ready, coach, I said. But was I really? When we left the hotel, dozens of journalists were waiting. Cameras, flashes, questions. Diego, what do you think of England? Will you take revenge for the Falklands War? Will you hold a press conference? I answered none of them. My time to speak would be tomorrow, on the pitch. Have you ever felt pressure like that? Millions waiting for a miracle from you. Don't forget to like this video because I'm telling you truths you won't read in books. The Azteca Stadium, the biggest in the world, capacity 115,000. In 1970, Pelé had lifted the trophy here. Now it was my turn. On the bus ride, I looked out the window. Thousands lined the streets. Blue and white jerseys, Argentine flags, banners with Maradona. Some were already crying, and the match hadn't even begun. When we entered the stadium, the noise hit me like a wall. 115,000 people chanting together. A Argentina. Argentina. The stands were a blue and white sea, but what struck me most was one banner, Las Malvinas son Argentinas. The Malvinas are Argentine. That's when I knew this was more than football. This was a battle for national honor. I was sitting in the locker room, tying my boots. My hands were trembling, not from fear, from too much adrenaline. Diego, calm down. The whole world is watching you. This isn't just football, this is history. From the next locker room, we could hear the voices of the English. Lineker, Beardsley, Robson, strong names. But what they didn't know was that they weren't just facing 11 players, they were facing 37 million Argentinians. Captain Passarella stood up. Boys, today we'll make history. Not just for ourselves, but for the soldiers who died, for our families watching back home in front of the TV. This is our time, Valdano added. Diego, you're our leader. Wherever you go, we'll follow. When the referee called us, my heartbeat was at 120 per minute. We walked out of the tunnel's darkness, and then the sound came. Do you know what it's like when 115,000 people scream at the same time? Like an earthquake. The stadium was shaking, I was shaking. Goosebumps all over. Diego, Diego, Diego! They were shouting my name, but not just mine. They were shouting Argentina's name. I looked at the English players. They, too, were affected by the atmosphere. Their keeper, Shilton, looked tense. Robson kept glancing around nervously. Were any of you in the stadium that day? Share your memories in the comments. When we stepped onto the field, the sun was blazing directly above us. Mexico City, heat, 35 degrees. Yet I was shivering, because I knew, in 90 minutes, I'd either be a hero or a traitor. Our national anthem played. 115,000 voices sang along. My eyes filled with tears. I thought of that little boy from Villa Fiorito. The kid who played with a tin can was now in a World Cup quarter-final. When the referee blew the first whistle, I relaxed. The talking was over. Now it was time to play. This was my world. Green grass, white lines, infinite possibilities. The first 10 minutes were tight. The English had studied us well. Terry Butcher was marking me like a shadow. Every time I touched the ball, he was there. You won't get past me this time, Diego, he kept saying. You're playing on our field. I didn't answer. I don't like to talk. I like to make others talk, with my feet. In the 15th minute, the first dangerous chance came. Valdano sent me a great pass. I was entering the penalty area when Butcher tackled from behind. The referee didn't call it. The whole stadium stood up, whistling furiously. Calm down, Diego, there's still time, I told myself, but I was getting angry. The English were playing rough. Around the 30th minute came a key moment. I picked up the ball from midfield and started running. Butcher, Reed, Fenwick, 3 of them came at me. Normally, I would have passed. But that day was different. That day, I wanted to prove myself. I beat Butcher with my left foot, Reed with my right. Fenwick was left. I ran at him, cut the ball to the right at the last second, and I was through. The crowd went wild. The first half ended 0-0. In the locker room, everyone was quiet. Disappointment hung in the air. We had played 45 minutes and achieved nothing. Our coach Carlos Bilardo spoke calmly. Boys, is the match over? We still have 45 minutes. The English didn't score, neither did we. It's 0-0. We start the second half from scratch. Then he turned to me. Diego, they're trying to stop you. Double teaming, even triple teaming you. That's a good thing. It shows how important you are. But you are not someone who can be stopped. Go out there and show them who you are. 6 minutes into the second half, the clock read 51 minutes. That was the moment history would change. Steve Hodge, England's midfielder, was under pressure. He tried to send the ball back to Shilton, but he slipped, and the ball went much higher than he intended. Time slowed down, just like in the movies. The ball hung in the air. I jumped. Shilton jumped. We both wanted that ball. I was 1.65 meters, Shilton 1.83 meters. Normally, he would have gotten it, but this wasn't a normal day. I hung in the air. His hand reached out, my hand reached out, and the ball went into the net. The first thing I thought, goal! But how? Did I head it, or? I started running to hug my teammates. Because we had scored, Argentina was ahead, 1-0, but there was a strange silence in the stands. The English players surrounded referee Ali Benachour. Hand, hand, they shouted. The referee hesitated, looked at the linesman. The Bulgarian linesman signaled he saw nothing. The referee made his decision. Goal. But what was the truth? Let me tell you. Yes, my hand touched the ball. My left hand, the upper part. But was it deliberate? Was it planned? It was pure reflex. The ball came, I jumped, my hand and head both searched for it. Which touched first? Maybe we'll never know. But do you know what I thought at that moment? I thought of the 649 Argentinian soldiers who died in the Falklands. I thought of the mothers crying in the streets of Buenos Aires. I thought of England's arrogance. This goal is for them, I told myself. This goal is justice. Do you believe in justice? Can the wrong method sometimes lead to the right outcome? Share your thoughts in the comments, because this debate still continues today. We were still celebrating the first goal when, just 4 minutes later, the second goal arrived. But this time it was different. This time everyone would see what I could really do. This time there would be no debate. 55th minute. I stole the ball in our own half, about 10 meters behind the halfway line. In front of me lay 60 meters of field. Behind me an entire nation whose dream would die if it ended 0-0. Diego, it's now or never. With the first touch, I controlled the ball. I looked around. The English weren't yet organized because they never thought I'd win the ball so deep. I started running. From the very first step, I was at full speed. The boy from Villa Fiorito, the kid who ran with a tin can, was now running in a World Cup. First obstacle, Peter Beardsley. He came from the right. I passed him with my left foot as if he wasn't there. Second obstacle, Peter Reed. He tried to cut me off in midfield. I skipped past him with my right. Now I was approaching the penalty box. Third obstacle, Terry Butcher, the man who had followed me the entire game. Now it was face to face. I ran straight at him, then shifted left at the last second. Past him. Fourth obstacle, Terry Fenwick, now inside the penalty box. Fenwick lunged desperately. I got past him too. Only one was left. Fifth and final obstacle, Peter Shilton, one of the world's best goalkeepers. But in front of him stood Diego Armando Maradona. I closed in on goal. Shilton came toward me. I pulled the ball to the right, went around him, and goal. I had run 60 meters, beaten 5 English players, and scored. The Azteca Stadium went mad. 115,000 people rose at once. The sound was so loud my ears rang. In the stands, people were crying, laughing, hugging. I was crying too, because in that moment I realized I had written history. Do you remember that run? Which goal do you love more, the first or the second? Tell me in the comments. The game ended 2-1. The English were defeated, but more importantly, Argentina had triumphed. On the sideline, reporters swarmed me. Diego, what do you say about the first goal? I smiled. A little with my head, a little with the hand of God. La mano de Dios. The hand of God. That phrase would go down in history. The next day, newspapers came out. 2 different stories. English newspapers, thief, hand of disgrace, cheating Maradona. Argentinian newspapers, gracias Diego, Maradona Nacional, la revancha de Malvinas. The media is always two-faced, isn't it? Don't forget to like this video and turn on notifications, because I'm telling you the truths the media won't show you. In Buenos Aires, wild celebrations filled the streets. At Plaza de Mayo, thousands chanted, Maradona, Maradona. After beating England, we faced Belgium in the semi-final. We won 2-0. I scored both goals in the 51st and 63rd minutes. We were heading to the final, July 3rd, 1986. The final, against West Germany. Once again at the Azteca, with 115,000 watching. The match was tough. We went up 2-0, but the Germans tied it 2-2. Then, in the 83rd minute, I passed the ball to Burruchaga. He scored. 3-2, we won. The World Cup was ours. Argentina were champions. The moment I lifted the trophy, words can't describe it. 115,000 in the stadium, billions on TV, all celebrating for me, for us. Do you have children? What do you tell them about following their dreams? Because when I was that kid from Villa Fiorito, who could have imagined I'd lift the World Cup? When we landed back in Ezeiza Airport, chaos erupted. 100,000 people had come to welcome us. At Plaza de Mayo, 500,000 were waiting, 500,000. When I returned to Villa Fiorito, the muddy streets had been paved. They had hung up a sign, Diego Armando Maradona Street. My mother, Doña Tota, hugged me and whispered, "You're still my little Diego." Those words grounded me. Today, so many years later, people still talk about that hand. Did Maradona cheat? Was it fair? Let me tell you this. Anyone who thinks only football was played that day at the Azteca is mistaken. That day, history was written. That day, the pride of a nation was restored. That day, little Diego became the greatest in the world. Was it the hand of God or just my hand? Both. Because sometimes God uses our hands. Sometimes we are God's hand. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video and don't forget to subscribe, because stories like these, moments like these only happen once, but they are told forever. I am Diego Armando Maradona, world champion, the boy from Villa Fiorito. And yes, was it the hand of God that day or just my hand? That's for you to decide. But never forget, sometimes to change history, a single touch of the hand is enough. Final questions for you. If you had been in my place, what would you have done? Which goal was more beautiful, the hand of God or the goal of the century? Share your honest answers in the comments. Gracias por todo, amigos. Vamos Argentina.